In this video, we're going to talk about the two different types of investors. One is you have the cash flow investor. Two, you have the net worth investor. Now, before I get going, I'm going to say that a person can have both, right? You can be investing in two different ways of thinking at the exact same time. But I'm going to get into that in a second. So let me kind of define what the cash flow investor looks like. So cash flow investors generally where people start because, they're attracted to the cash flow. And that's for a very good reason is the cash flow sets you free. Once you can have enough cash flow coming in from your investments to where you can cover your living expenses, you are financially free. So it's for a very good reason that people focus on the cash flow. But here's the problem is that when a person gets into that habit of just focused on cash flow, they can end up buying some pretty crappy real estate just because it cash flows, right? So, you're gonna likely have inner city pieces of junk type of real estate. They're gonna cash flow way better than Class A real estate. The cash flow itself, yes, it's going to, the cash flow will be better from owning lower quality real estate, but that owning of lower quality real estate is going to make you old. It's going to wear you out. You're going to have constant struggles with tenants. That you almost can't have nice quality real estate because the tenants are going to beat it up. The houses around it are going to be distressed. So it doesn't make sense for you to have nice quality real estate. So when you're looking at just being a cash flow investor, you're normally just focused on the cash on cash return and the cash flow coming out of your purchase. Most people, when they're focused on cash flow, they want to be zero money out of pocket, right? They want to be able to do a full burst strategy. They want to be able to buy it, rehab it with the little rehab that they do, refinance it and rent it out without having any money out of pocket. And that's doable. I used to do the exact same thing. So when I used to be focused primarily on cash flow, I'd buy a house, I'd want to fix it up, refinance it, rent it, do all that stuff, have zero money out of pocket and trying to average about $300 a month. That was fine. It paid me. But the problem was that I couldn't ever get beyond owning like C-class real estate because if I was focused on making those numbers work, that's the best that I could buy, right? Once my cash flow got to the point where I didn't need the cash flow as much anymore, I got all my debt paid off, I paid off my house, I didn't really need cash that much anymore. So then I wanted to focus on owning the best quality real estate that I could buy. And so then of course, getting some help with a mindset shift from my mentor helped me start focusing on becoming a net worth investor, not necessarily a cash flow investor. Now, by the time I refinance and rent my houses now, they do cash flow, but that usually entails me putting some money down to get them to cash flow. Okay. So I went from being a cash flow investor of never being willing to have any money out of pocket to now being okay with having $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 down into a property. And here's why. Because I know what the long-term value of that property is going to do. I'm no longer looking at holding it for 2 or 3 years and then hoping to resell it. Now I'm looking to hold that property for 10 to 20 years into the future at very minimum until the house doubles in value, right? So if I have $20,000 or $30,000 down and it buys me a $250,000 property and I'm gonna wait until that property doubles in value. So it's eventually going to be worth $500,000, probably somewhere between 10 to 20 years down the road. $30,000 gets me $500,000. And when it hits that point of doubling in value, chances are it's also going to be paid off, right? So I'm totally okay putting a little bit of money down because I know that property is going to double in value and that my actual return on investment is going to be unbelievable. Because since I'm owning better quality real estate in a better area, the appreciation is going to far outpace the property where I was just focused on cash flow. And by the way, I'm still cash flowing on this property. I'm still cash flowing fairly close to what I would have before because I was willing to put some money down. So that's basically the difference in the mindset of the cash flow investor versus net worth investor, is the long-term outlook of what it turns into. And here's something to think about. When you are a net worth investor and you're focused on owning better quality real estate, you are going to have higher rents. And when you have higher rents and eventually when they get paid off, you are going to have far more cash flow as the net worth investor than you would as the cash flow investor. It's just going to take some time before that happens. So in the long run, you're going to make way more cash flow and you're going to have far more net worth, far more wealth. That's why I focus on being a net worth investor now. So there's two different mindsets. There's not a right or wrong. Each person has to determine their own path and their own strategy. But from what I've seen, I always look into the future. I'm always looking at people that have been doing this for a long time. The people I see that are focused primarily on being cash flow investors, generally they age faster, they're worn out, they get burned out of the business. Whereas people are net worth investors that focus on owning the best quality real estate they can and focus on their long-term wealth. Generally they own less, but end up making and having far more and much better quality of lives. They have a much better control of their time. They have better quality life. They have more time with those around them. All the stuff that we actually want and should be seeking as real estate investors. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Feel free to hit the subscribe button to follow me, and I'll see you on the next video.